Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to tutorials. So today we're going to be building this project here. This is a front-end mentor UI design, and we're going to be building it with HTML and CSS. I am going to include timestamps down below so it is easier for you all to go throughout the project and skip through to whatever part you're on. And I hope you all like this tutorial. Let me know in the comments down below what projects you all want to see up next, and let's get started. The project that we're going to be working on today is this Huddle landing page on Front-End Mentor. So you all can just go on to Front-End Mentor and go to the challenges. If you go to the challenges up here, if you don't have an account, you can make an account. It doesn't really matter. Then you can click on that and then you can download the starter. I have already downloaded the starter, but you can go ahead and download that. You're gonna have the same folder, the same files that I'm gonna have. And then you can go to whatever code editor it is that you choose, that you like to use. So I like to use VS Code, so I'm gonna be using VS Code, and we're gonna open the file. Yes, okay, so we have the project here and we can get started. So what the folder comes with is you have design, which has the design files. So we can actually open that. So I have opened all the design files. So we have here the mobile version, then we have here the desktop version, and then we have, this is the active version. And pretty much the only thing that changes for the active is the background color and the text color for the buttons, and then the color of the font awesome icons, and then their border. So that's fine. We don't really need to reference that right now, so we can minimize that. But we can keep the desktop. I like to keep the desktop version here. And then I like to work in a mobile first design approach. So I build out the mobile design first. And then as I build out one section in the mobile design, then I move on to the desktop version. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So let's get started. The first thing that we're going to be doing is we are going to be deleting things that we don't need. So as you can see, we have here style. We don't need that here because we're going to be adding a separate style sheet. You can keep the footer if you want. I'm going to keep the footer, but I'm going to remove that extra information that's there. And then the title, this is what shows up at the title of the website. I'm just going to keep it at Huddle since that is the name of the website or the landing page. So that's just going to stay as Huddle. And then we can save that, and then we can add a style.css file because we're going to need that. And then we can start the live server, and then I will show you all what that is looking like. So that's what that looks like right now. As you can see, that's all we have. We have only what is here in the HTML. There is nothing set in the CSS, so of course no styling is coming through. We're gonna get to that. So I'm just gonna leave that there. And then we can, you know what, we can just add it to another, I don't know if it's gonna, yeah, it'll come to the, okay, that's perfect. Okay, so the first thing that I like to do is actually to set up my HTML, especially when I'm working with the front-end mentor challenges or just when I have a design I like, and if I'm gonna be building with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, I like to set up my HTML first because again, you know, that those are the bones of a website. So the first thing that we're gonna be doing here is, so we don't forget, is we're gonna be linking our CSS. So that's just a link tag, and the href is going to be to style.css. If you named your CSS file something else, then make sure that those names match. If not, your CSS is not going to work. So then we're going to look at the structure of this design and how does it change from desktop to mobile. So as you all can see, in the desktop version, we have these two, I guess we can call them components, which is the image, and then we have this other component, which is the content, and they're right next to each other. But when we go to the mobile version, they're on top of each other. So we need to take that into consideration when building out the HTML and the CSS. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put these into two separate divs. So let's go here into the body. Let's add some space for clarity. And then let's try to use some semantic HTML. So inside of the header, we are going to put this huddle logo. And the file is inside of images, and it is this logo, I'm pretty sure. And then we are going to use main, which is like our main content. And then we can have two divs. So the first div is going to be for the image, so which is the hero image. So then we can add here another image tag. Autocomplete is not working. There you go. Okay, so then that's gonna be the hero image, which is going to be it's this one. I think the mock-up illustration makes sense. And then this is going to be, this second div is going to be for this content section here, for the hero content section. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to have an H1, which is going to have the title, which is build a community your fans will love. So we're going to copy that and delete it from there so it doesn't stay there. And then the actual content, we're just going to put it inside of a paragraph, and that is up to discussion. And then again, delete that. So then that's that content. And then what we have is going to be a button element. And then we're going to get this register. So then that's going to go there. So now we have these two divs inside of this main component area. So now when we resize and we're trying to make it responsive from desktop to mobile, it'll be easier for us to go from placing them in a row, so next to each other, and then into a column for the mobile, which is on top of each other. So that's perfect. And then for the footer, as you can see, we have kind of like this little makeshift footer here in the bottom, which are the favicon or icons. So then if you look at the style guide that Front End Mentor provides you with, they show you here the icons. So they have like 3 different options. So I have my Font Awesome key. Anyone can generate a free Font Awesome key. So you all can just head to the website, click on that link right there, and go to the website, generate a key. And then that key, which is just a link tag, is a script tag, I'm sorry, you can place inside of the head tag of your HTML. And that's going to allow you to use their icons. So then when we go, let me pull up the website. So then when we go to Font Awesome or Font Awesome icons, then we can just look up Facebook. And then we have the icon here. So then we can just copy it and then place it here. And now we have those 3 icons that we're using for the footer. So now let's look at how this looks. So this is what we have. So we have our image. You can't see the logo because the logo is white, the background's white, it's blending in. And then we have here the heading, the paragraph, the button, and these icons which are not showing up. And the reason is you need to add an FA here. And then they should show up. Now they're showing up. So this is what we have to start with, and this is our structure, our HTML structure. Then what I like to do is add classes. The reason why I like using classes to when I'm using CSS to style is because it's a lot more clear as opposed to saying div. So like when you're styling, saying like turn this div red and turn the footer purple or whatever, or turn the image within the first div, like that's not really specific. So if another developer comes in and they're looking at your work and they're like, okay, div, image, like that's not specific. If someone needs to debug your code, that's really difficult. So I like adding specific classes that are more specific to the section that they're referring to. So that's what we're going to be doing right now. So we can start with the header. I'm just gonna keep this one simple logo because it literally just has a logo, so I'm just gonna keep it like that. And then for the logo, we're gonna add a class of huddle logo. So then that's the header. And then what we're building is a landing page. Usually the section that's at the top of a landing page is called a hero section. So that's what I'm going to be naming this main, just hero. And then this has just the hero image, so we're going to be naming that hero image. And then I'm just going to name this image, which is not very good. I should be more specific, but for this tutorial we're just going to do that since there is only one image. There's also the logo, but it's a logo. So that's for the first div. And then this div here has the content, so we're gonna name it hero content. And then the title, let's guess, what am I gonna name it? Hero title. The easiest and simplest classes that you come up with, then the easier it is to debug your content or your code whenever anyone new comes to it. So always try to go for obvious and easy. And then here we're gonna call this hero CTA. CTA stands for call to action, and that's usually like at the top of a website, that information that you have under the first title. This is the call to action. This is where you're gonna be getting the users to do something, to act on something. So that's that. And then here we could do just hero button, but what if you have more than one button? So we're gonna do hero button register because this is a register button. So that's what we have for now. And then the footer, we can just leave it like that. And then since all these icons already have 1, 2, 3 different classes, it's easy to target them. We don't need to add any more classes. So that's what we're going to be staying at. So the next thing that I like to do is to set up the base of my CSS. And I do this for almost every project that I use CSS for. And that is set the box sizing to border box, and then set the margin to 0, and then the padding to 0. The reason why I do this is so there's not any other random padding that is added by browsers, so on and so forth. Then we're starting with a blank canvas. Then we're going to be adding the margins and paddings that we want based on the design that we have. So if we go and we take a look at, we don't need this anymore, so we can close that out. So if we go and we take a look, there is no more padding, there's no more margins. As you can see, everything is at 0. So that is for that. And then the next thing we're going to do is set up CSS variables. And I'm going to show you all how to do that. So the first thing that you are going to do is you're going to want to select the root element, and then you're going to create your variables. I like to create variables, CSS variables, for colors, for font families, for font weights. You can also do font size if your font size is very a lot, but I don't really do it much for font sizes. I like to start with color. So I do CLR accent, and this is going to be my accent color, and that's going to be this violet color that we have here, and then we can just place that there. And then we also have a light accent color, so I'm just going to call it light, and then that's going to be this soft magenta color. We're going to copy and paste that there. And then we also have white, which is what we're going to be using for the font. For the typography for the fonts, as we can see, Google, Front End Mentor, they let us know here what font families is part of the design. So I'm going to pull up Google Fonts here. So here it is. And then you can just look up here. So it's Poppins. It's this one. And then it's gonna be, you can go all the way down, and I've added in here already. So that's 400, which is here. And then you have the 500, is it the 500 or 600? Oh, it's the 600. Why do I have the 500? The 600. And then we're gonna get the Open Sans. So then you can just type here, Open Sans, then you click here, and then you need the 400, so you go all the way down, and then you can just click here, add. I already have it selected, and then you have to copy this link tag here. We're gonna add this to our HTML. Make sure you add this on top of your style CSS link. If not, you're not gonna be able to edit that with your style. So then we have that, so we don't need Google Fonts anymore. So then we can do our font. So we're gonna do our heading font, and then we're gonna do just text. You can do text or body, it doesn't really matter, I don't think so. And that's gonna be Open Sans serif. So then you have that there, typography, and then you can do the font weights, and there you have, these are your variables, and then it's going to be easier for you to use them and apply them and be consistent throughout your project. Let's say you want to change the accent color, then that's easy. You just change it here in your variable, and then you don't have to go through all of your CSS and all of your code to change every instance of that color. So that's why it is really good to use variables. Now let's continue. The next thing we're going to work on is the body. The first thing I like to do is set the width to 100%, or we can just do 100% view width, and then height set it to 100 VH. That just means 100 view height. So depending on the height of the viewer, whether it's mobile or desktop or so on. And then VW stands for view width. And then the next thing that we're going to be doing is the background color, which you can see here in the image. We're not going to need this anymore. Yeah, I don't think so. So as you can see here in the design, the background color is this accent. So when you want to use the variable, you just do variable, and then it shows up. So we can even just take a look at what our design looks like. So now you can see that the background has changed, and now you can see the logo because the background is no longer white, so that's good. So then the next thing that we have to do is add this background image. As you can see, there's like a background image, and then there are two different background images. There is one for desktop, and then there's one for mobile. So we're going to set up the one for desktop now, and then later on when we do the responsiveness, we can change the background image for the mobile. So then we can look at how it looks, and now you can see that we have that image. But as you can see, the image is repeating and the position is not correct. So then we can do background position, center, background size, cover, so it'll cover the entire view, and then background repeat, no repeat, so it doesn't repeat. And then we can look at it, and now it is perfect. And then another thing that we can do here is set the font family to the regular font size that we have. So that's going to be the text. And then since we can see here that all of the text is white, we can just automatically set all of the color to white. So then that's going to be white. And I can see all of that color is white. So that's good for the body. And then we can move this to the side so that we can look. The way that I like to write my CSS is from the top to bottom. So we've done the body, which incorporates everything, the entire design. And then we will go to the header because that's what's next, from top to bottom. So we're gonna start with the header. And the first thing that I wanna do is add those paddings to both of these. So I think it's about a 50 pixel, that's what it looks like. And then we're gonna add the same, just so we don't miss it later on, we're gonna add that same padding to the main content and to the footer. Padding. So we have that consistent padding throughout, which would be 50 pixels. And then, yeah, that looks fine. And then mobile, that looks fine. The logo needs to be smaller on mobile, but we're gonna fix that. But the padding looks fine for now. And then the next thing that we want to do is tackle this main section here. So we have the hero. So we have these two components here that we want to be placed in a row. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use flexbox, display flex, and then flex direction is going to be row. And then we're going to justify content space between, so there's a space between them. And then we're going to align items. Let's do flex start and see how that looks. And let's take a look. That is looking much better. As you can see, now they're aligned in a row. But for mobile, they're aligned in a column. So let's add some quick responsiveness. Max width 800 pixels or 900. Usually I do like 800 or 850 or 900 so that the mobile version includes like iPad version. So we can tackle even like the body image. So body and background image URL. So then that image is different because we have here a mobile, so that's just that. And then for the main content, you know what, actually we said we were going to use the classes. So let's do here hero, and let's do here a hero. And then we can do here flex direction, and it's going to be a column. And that's gonna make that responsive for mobile. So as you can see, we have it now in a row, but once we get to 800, we'll probably change that to 900. Then it moves to a column, which is on top of each other. Let's do 850. And then we want the hero section to span the entire width, so we're gonna do a width of 100%. Then we're gonna go and we're gonna tackle each section or each div within that main section. So the first one is gonna be the hero image. Is that just hero image? Yeah. And then we don't want this to take up the entire half of that hero section because we want to keep that spacing. So we're gonna set the width to 45%, so that gives us a bit of like a 5% like space between them, and then that should be fine. And then we can tackle that image in there, and we're gonna set its width, and we're gonna set it to 100%, and that's going to contain that within that hero image section. So as you can see, now it's contained within that section, but the other div is not still set its width, so it is messed up. So then that div is here, the hero content. So we're gonna go to the hero content, and we're gonna set the width to 45% as well. And as you can see, then that looks much better. That's much better. But as you can see, when we're moving to desktop, then it's only to mobile, it's only taking up that 45%. So here in the media query, we have to change that. So then that's the hero image. So then we can set the width to 100%, and then the hero content, set that width to 100%. That should be fine there. And now it's taking up that full 100%. So that looks fine. Okay. And then if you look at the desktop design, there's like this small like amount of space at the top. So I'm just gonna add here at the hero content a margin at the top of maybe 20 pixels, 20 or 30 pixels. I think that's enough. So then yeah, you can see we could even do it maybe like 30 pixels. Yeah, that just adds kind of like that extra space at the top. And then within the hero content, we're not gonna do any other changes to the image because it's just the image. We set the width and that's fine. So now we're gonna go in here to the hero content where we have the hero title and the hero CTA. So we'll go to the hero title, and we're gonna send the font family to the heading, which is this one, and then the font is a lot bigger. Well, the font weight is bigger, so font weight bold, and then the font size is also bigger. So we're gonna do that let's do 3.6 rem. You can see how that looks. That looks much better, so you all can see there. And then what else? Maybe 3.4, because that did look pretty big. Yeah, that looks fine. That looks fine. Okay, and then we can go to the hero CTA, and we're gonna do the font family. The font family was already set actually, so we can just do the font weight, which was to the regular, and then we can even make the font size a little bit bigger, maybe like 1.4 rem. Yeah, that looks much better. Then you can also see that there is some like padding between the title and then the CTA and the button. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add like a margin bottom of 20 pixels, and we're gonna do the same for the CTA, so it has that margin between the buttons. Okay, and then if you look at the mobile design, this is very big for mobile, so that needs to change. The size of that title needs to change for the mobile. And when you look at the image here, all of that text and that content is centered, so we need to center that. So we're going to go here in the media query, and we're going to go to hero title text align center, and then we're going to go to the hero CTA, and we're gonna text align that center as well. And then we're gonna change this font size. Let's try, originally it was 4. Let's try like 2.4 RAM. I think that'll be good. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so you can see that looks already much better for mobile. So we're doing really good. Okay, so the next thing that we can do really fast is this logo. So you can see the logo is really big for mobile. It should like shrink down a little bit. So what we can do is we can tackle here. We can select the image, which we added a class of image to the, oh no, that was Huddle logo. Yeah. Huddle logo, which is this one here, and we're gonna set the width to 50%. Let's see how that looks. That looks better. Maybe 45, 40. What do you guys think? I think 40 looks good, no? I think 40 looks fine. So you can see it's 40% and it just resizes. That's like really smooth. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna tackle this button here. So what is this button? This is a class, it's a really long class, so we can just copy that here. Let's close this media. So we're gonna do this. So first of all, border none to remove every border that it has, and then the background color is white to begin with. So that's white, and then the font color is the accent color. I think that's what it looks like to me. And then we are going to do a font size. What is 1.4? We can do 1.4 RAM, the same as the other paragraph. And then we are going to do some padding for the button. Let's do 10 pixels just to see what it looks like. And actually we need to do the width. So how does it look on desktop? It's about 30%, but on mobile it's about 60%. So let's start with a width of 35%, and then a padding of 10%, and let's see what that looks like. Okay, not bad, not bad. Let's do actually a top padding of 15 pixels, top and bottom, and then 10 pixels, and then we need that border radius of about 20 pixels. Let's see, a lot more than that, maybe 40 pixels because it's more round. Yeah, that looks perfect. And then let's see how that looks on mobile. Okay, and then that needs to be centered, and then it needs to be, so how are we going to center that? We are going to have to center the hero content. So let's do here display flex, and we're going to do a flex direction of column, and then a align items center. Well, actually here we need to say flex start, and then here align item center, and then here we're gonna have to do the hero button width of I think 60%. Yeah, that's much better. So you can see already that looks way better. And then that's how it looks like on desktop. That looks good to me. So then what we also need to add is that hover effect. So if you all remember, we had those active styles of how those elements look like when they're active, so hovered over. So we need to change that background color, and we need to change the color of that button. So the way that we're gonna do that is we're gonna go to the hover button, and then we're gonna use the hover, and then we're gonna change that background color to the light accent, and then we're gonna change that color to white. And then you know what we forgot to do is here cursor pointer, and that should work, and that did not work. Why doesn't it work? You know why? Because that says hover, not hero. Now it should work. Yes. So that works. So that's perfect. Okay, so now we need to tackle that footer and those icons. So that footer for the desktop design, the items are aligned to that end. So we're gonna do a display display flex, and then flex direction is going to be row, and then justify content ends. I think that should put it at the end. Yeah, okay, perfect. And then let's tackle those specific FA icons. So let's do a font size of 1.4 rem to keep it consistent, and then we're gonna do a border of 2 pixels solid var, and then that's gonna be white, and then it has a border. Oh, it's round border, so we're gonna do a border radius of 50%. So then we can take a look, and you can see that they're there and they're really messed up. And the reason why is because we need to add some padding between that icon and that border. Let's do 20 pixels, 15 pixels. Let's do 20 first, a lot, and then we'll see what that looks like. Whoa, that's a lot. I think 15 would be good. And then we actually need, we need to add some spacing between. As you can see, they're like joined together. What we can do is we can tackle the second icon. So you can do FA. Let me go up and then you all can see FA nth child second. So that's gonna tackle the middle icon. And then we can do a margin of 0 pixels for top and bottom, and then 10 pixels for the sides. And then we can see how that looks. That looks much better. For mobile, they're gonna be too big for sure. They're too big, and they need to be centered. If we look at the design here, they're in the center. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tackle them. First let's tackle the footer, and we're gonna do justify content center. I think that should center it. And then let's do the icons. Let's do a font size of 1.2 m. Maybe that will help. And that looks much better. But I think that's a lot of padding for that font size. Maybe we can change the padding as well to 12 pixels. Yeah, that looks way better. Whoa. But if you look at the Facebook icon, it looks kind of weird because it's more long than wide. So what we can do is here we can tackle that specific icon using its specific class, which is this one. And then we can give it like a different padding. So instead of doing a padding of 15, we can keep the top and bottom at 15 and then try maybe 17 pixels for the sides, and maybe that'll even it out. Well, that's for the desktop. So you can see for desktop that looks already much better. So then for mobile, so that's just a 2-1. Wait, let's copy this. And we're gonna do, it's a 12, and then we'll do a 14 here. And let's see how that looks. That looks much better. You can see that. Okay, so another thing that we need to do is add that active state for those icons. So if you look at the design, when you're hovering over those icons, the border and the icons change color. So let's add that. Let's add that. So that's, actually let's add it here. So .fa hover, and we're gonna do a border color of color accent light, and then a color of the same var. And then another thing that we need to add here is the cursor as a pointer so the user knows that they can click on it. And that is that. Look at that. That's perfect. So that is our project. Did we do everything? I don't know. Did we change the font size of the content of this Hero City A? I think we didn't. No. Is the font family already set? I don't know. I don't know if it's set because it doesn't look different. It looks the same, I guess. It looks different, doesn't it? I think there is something wrong. Or is it correct? I feel like it looks different. I don't know. But I think we did a good job, you all. So this is what the design is. This is what it looks like. And that is our code. Okay, everyone, so that is going to be all for today's tutorial. This is our design. This is what we built using Front-End Mentor. If you all have any questions at all, feel free to leave them down below and I can reply to you all when I have time. But I'm pretty good at replying to comments, but you can also find me on Instagram and any other social media, so you all can reach out if you have any questions. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell button so you all don't miss any future tutorials. I'm already working on some more. I'm working on another React tutorial and a tutorial using SAS for styling. So make sure to subscribe. If not, you guys are gonna miss it. But yeah, thanks for watching this video.